Just on time, so now we are moving to FLUWA Flurec, traveling outside of the EU to Switzerland. Thank you
very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Jonas. And to Siegfried. Can you switch on your microphone, Siegfried, and then start sharing your screen?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
From Switzerland.
Hello, we can hear you. And we can see the presentation full screen. So I will just leave it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Siegfried Reithaar from Switzerland, from company AIK Technik AG, and we will speak about acid wash of fly ash. We will show you the overview of the basics, the improvements that we had in the last years, and the challenges. AIK Technik is a quite young company, which is formed by 8 former employees from a company, DSH Umweltservice AG, which was a spin-off of Sulzer in the 90s. We have 16 engineers, and our experience about fly ash treatment go back to the 80s and 90s, where in Switzerland we was planning about treat fly ash, which is hazardous waste, and so we wanted to treat in a manner to dispose in Switzerland. We have also other market segment with pit and quarry, and we have big experience with fly ash treatment. One of the most important points is that our legislation is coined up with a high level of sense of responsibility for a sustainable and eco-friendly development of the sector, thermic residue treatment and residue recovery. So we try to optimize the returns of many resources in the cycle of materials and enables also a customer benefit. We think also to the next generation, so we try to develop technology that could reduce the impact in the future for our child. Where are we working? We are working in waste to energy plants. We work in the industry pit and quarry, where we try to decontaminate soil and to bring back also these materials to the circular economy. We have after sales and services, and then we have research and development. Research and development is very important because each company or each plant, each customer of us has different concentrations of materials, and for us it's important to help the customer to optimize his process. And so we can also develop in our laboratory new technology and get better approach to the process. You see here our scope, and now the technology. We speak today about FLUWA, Flurec and ABA. We are also working on phosphorus recycling, which is one of the challenges of today in Europe, and we have also quite experience on that point, and pit and quarry as described. FLUWA is the name, Swiss name for acid fly ash washing. ABA is the process wastewater treatment, and Flurec is a development to recover zinc from fly ash. What is the approach? One important approach is that Switzerland has no hazardous waste disposal, so the fly ash without treatment would go abroad. But that is not the idea of our legislation. So we would like to get back to nature the liquid phase. We want to dispose in Switzerland the washed ash, and we want also to get back the zinc to the cycle by metallurgical plant. And these 3 points are achieved by the acid fly washing, which is the state of the art in Swiss incineration plant. we have to say that from the 1st January of 2021, all the fly ash should be treated in Switzerland by acid fly ash washing. You see here the plants working in Switzerland. We have more than that as a waste-to-energy plant, and the other plant which are not showed here will bring the fly ash to these Swiss plants. We have also plants abroad, and you have seen also that we are also working together with our people in Sweden. I show you 3 points. The basic FLUWA, which is the standard process implemented in Switzerland. There is an improvement to get high grade zinc with quite 100% of purity. It's that urban mining by Kebak Industries in Zuchwil. And then we have the newest development in the legislation is to reduce the concentration of lead, zinc, cadmium, and copper in the washed fly ash. You see here the FLUWA and ABA with integrated Flurec. What happens? Normally you have fly ash, filter ash that you collect from the precipitators. We work mainly with wet flue gas treatment installation, where you have an acid scrub and you have the neutral scrub. And the idea behind the FLUWA is to reduce the content of the heavy metals in the fly ash to get disposed in a normal disposal with the bottom ash. So we mixed the fly ash with the acid scrub, we filtrate, and then we treat the wastewater in the ABA, in the wastewater treatment. The newest development you see here is that from the filtrate, we can get back the zinc as high pure zinc in the Flurec. And I will speak about this technology as are developed in Switzerland and there are installed in Switzerland. You see here a standard FLUWA process. I will show you in picture which are the different steps. First of all, it's necessary to have a mercury removal, because also if mercury is forbidden since many years, you will find mercury in the scrubs. So we make a filtration and then an elimination of mercury with specialized exchange resins. Then we take the fly ash from the silos and we mix it with the acid scrub, which has about 5% of HCl. We mix it and stir it. It's about 1 hour of meantime. And in this step, we extract the heavy metal as much as possible from the fly ash. The next step is a filtration, where we work with a vacuum belt, and we wash also on the vacuum belt the fly ash, which is disposed at the end to the Swiss disposal. You will have a filtrate from this filtration, and then you will go through wastewater treatment. The wastewater treatment is a classic neutralization, precipitation, and homogenization of the wastewater that we handle with a total filtration by candle filters. Candle filters produce a very clean water. Clean, it means that the solid content is very low, and then we can reduce the heavy metal contents to require the limits for going back to river. The second part of the filtration is a sludge which is very rich with zinc. We have an automated dewatering system, and the sludge is then sent to abroad to produce zinc. We have non-metallurgical plant in Switzerland. So this is a classic FLUWA process which is implemented in all the FLUWA of Switzerland. And the next step that it began about 10 years ago is produce high pure zinc. And the stage is in between the wastewater treatment and the extraction stage that we have seen before. And the process is made of three steps. First step, you will see here the Flurec in between FLUWA and ABA. First step is cementation, where you dose pure zinc to reduce cadmium, lead, and copper to metallic stage. So you have a granulate that you can separate from the filtrate. The filtrate goes further. The filtration is a primary filtration with candle filters, and then a secondary final filtration. And you dispose these granulates of these three metals to big bags and go back to recycling industries. The next steps is a solvent extraction and the electrolysis. During the solvent extraction, you transfer the zinc, which you will find in the filtrate, to an acid solution. You separate it from the other heavy metals, and then you use a full automated electrolysis to produce pure zinc. The installation in Zug will produce about 300 to 400 kilograms of pure zinc each day. Switzerland is planning a big installation to produce zinc from all the fly ash produced in Switzerland. Then the wastewater goes to the wastewater treatment plant. Now we have very new development in the legislation where the agency would like to have some defined extraction rates for lead, zinc, cadmium, and copper. Today, the FLUWA leaches these elements as good as possible. The next time we have to achieve a rate. So the challenge is how we get the rate that is written in the laws. For this, the hydrogen peroxide, not water peroxide, is used and is dosed during the extraction steps. The studies are going on to find out which are the right dosing and where is it to dose, because there is quite very complex, all the chemical process that is going up during extraction. What are the technical challenges? For the basic FLUWA, one of the technical challenges we have is to have a constant composition of the fly ash, because each FLUWA becomes more 2 or 3 or 4 different fly ash, and it is very important to have a quite regular concentration. So the dosing is very important for that, and also the scrap contents are immense important. The law regulation about extraction rates is also a technical challenge, because all the FLUWA are now working and they have to introduce this hydrogen peroxide dosing, and we are as company, we support the operators and guide them towards the new requirements and implement the changes needed in the plants. So we support them and we work with other people who are working on the main problem. And the further circular economy, as the Flurec technology, is we try to contribute to the circular economy at the urban mining, which is today very important. And to develop this technology is also important that the public institutions promote the research and implementation of this technology, and they take some also technical risks to help them to fit it in the working technology we have. In the next slides, if you will look on them, you will find other information. And we show you here a little map of Europe. You see we are concentrating in Switzerland, but we have also other activities abroad in Europe where people are very interested in our technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Siegfried. So we have time for a few questions, and there is one in already. I have to ask, though, the diagram shows recirculation of the treated fly ash to the incinerator. Is it correct? I think it was earlier, maybe when you showed the whole incinerator figure.
Yes, there are some technology that could bring back the ash to the incinerator to get it out with the bottom ash. But the
Yes.
normal
Okay.
application is the bottom ash and the fly ash is disposed in the dump together in a special sector of the waste disposal site.
So there is no major impact on the performance of the incinerator when you have a little bit of recycling?
No, there is no impact.
Okay. And so there is a question around exactly whether the zinc recycling is happening. Is it happening at the flue? Is it done by FLUWA, or the final step is done abroad? I think there is some kind of...
So the installation of Flurec is installed nearby the FLUWA installation is beside, because it's not so a big installation, but you can work also abroad because if you have a filtrate, but the installation in Zuchwil is beside the FLUWA. Mm-hmm.
Because
the new, yeah. Yes, perhaps we can say there is a big project named the Swiss Zinc, where the installation will be separate from other plants, the way centralized in Switzerland.
Yes, I think that was also the question about centralized versus decentralized treatment.
Exactly, because Switzerland is quite small, so we have to centralize our installation plant to have more efficiency.
Yes. A couple of other questions, technical. Can FLUWA process ash if there is lime in it?
Yes.
So any type of fly ash and associated flue gas treatment, that's okay. Yes. There is no limitations. In the end, how many percent fly ash total volume is reduced or weight? So I guess it comes back a bit to how much zinc you remove from it, right?
So the fly ash, washed fly ash will reduce in about 20 to 30%. But the volume, because we have dry filter ash, and then we have the water it. So it's the mass balance is quite more complicated than this.
I see. And there is one more question. It's a bit complex. I hope I understand it correctly, but I think the question is, when you are installing Flurec FLUWA at a plant, does the plant need to do some kind of adjustment around its operation, about the type of waste it can take in, you know, and when I say also operation, it's around temperatures and flue gas treatment, exhaust gas composition. Does a plant needs to do anything, or you can just install FLUWA Flurec and FLUWA Flurec is tailored for the plant as is?
It depends from the plant. But as I explained before, we have one FLUWA that takes the fly ash from other plants. And normally you have more acid scrap that than you need for your filter, your own filter ash. So you can use this acid scrub also for other filter ash. So it's the idea that you can handle also filter ash from other plants.
Okay, so yeah.
But for the incineration, there are no big changes to make. It's important, you see here, that we use it for wet flue gas. So clearly you could also take acid from other installation, but we have here a combination where you can treat your scrubs and your filter ash together. That is the basics idea of FLUWA.
Yeah, that's important. Okay, I think we have covered everything. Thank you very much, Siegfried, for a very interesting presentation. I think